This your boy John the Liquidator coming back with major super news, man. Probably one of the first people that's finna report on this, and just remember where y'all heard it first. Guys, so it looked like the Cleveland Browns front office is playing a game of devil advocates, and they're playing major games with Shedeur Sanders and his roster spot. Now, if I got one thing for show, I got y'all back. And if it's one thing about me,
of course the Browns should start Shedeur Sanders again. And look, the haters, they try to comment, they try to get to me, try to get me to doubt. But I can't unsee the Titans game. I watched Shedeur Sanders throw for 364 yards. I watched Shedeur score 4 total touchdowns, and every other member of the team let him down in that game. And I'm not even going to get too analytical here for a second.
Bro, Cleveland Browns fans have officially had enough. And the name they're coming for right now is Andrew Berry. The Browns general manager is getting absolutely torched by his own fan base after it came out that while Todd Monken was publicly telling the world Shedeur Sanders is the guy moving forward, Berry's front office was in Indianapolis at the NFL Combine secretly shopping for not one, but 2 quarterbacks to replace him, Malik Willis, Ty Simpson, both names surfacing within 30 minutes of each other. And the fans, they are not having it. Not even a little bit. Because you don't draft a quarterback, smile in his face on camera, deny him first-team reps all season, and then fly to Indianapolis to replace him while lying to everybody's face. Cleveland, your front office just got exposed, and the people want answers right now.
She says the Browns love Malik Willis during the draft process back in 2022. As for Simpson, she says the team will consider him at number 6 or even number 24 or number 39 if he lasts that long. Whoa.
Cleveland just put Shedeur Sanders in a group chat with 2 new quarterbacks, and one of them might be his replacement. Shedeur Sanders dealt with so much draft drama. Questions about his attitude. Questions about him holding the ball too long. Questions that no other quarterback past the 3rd round would get. Had a coach who obviously didn't like him, and he still showed he was the best rookie quarterback in the draft. He got a Pro Bowl as a rookie, and the Cleveland Browns just showed they still don't want to commit. But who are they looking to add to the team? I don't know how this guy got so much free agency juice. I must have missed.
All right, let's get into this properly, because I need you to understand exactly how we got here, step by step, receipt by receipt, because this story is bigger than just one bad front office decision. This is a pattern. This is a culture, and Cleveland Browns fans are finally saying out loud what a lot of us have been thinking for a while now. It started with what John Liquidator, one of the first people to break this story wide open, called false smoke signals. And that phrase is absolutely perfect for what's been happening in Cleveland, because that's exactly what the Browns front office has been doing, sending out just enough positive noise to keep the public calm and keep the media off their backs, while behind closed doors, they were running a completely different operation. Think about the timeline here. Just one day before all of this exploded, Todd Monken was out there giving quotes that strongly implied Shedeur Sanders was going to be the guy moving forward for this team, the starting quarterback, the centerpiece of the offense. And Browns fans, who've been starving for a real franchise quarterback for longer than most of them want to admit, breathed a collective sigh of relief. Finally, they're committing to their guy. Finally, the front office is going to do right by the quarterback they drafted and build something real around him. And then the Combine started, and everything fell apart. Because while Monken was giving those feel-good quotes for public consumption, Andrew Berry's people were on the ground in Indianapolis doing something completely different. Your favorite reporter, Mary Kay Cabot, who was there covering the Combine, dropped the bombshell that the Browns are actively looking into external options at quarterback, not just casually kicking tires, actively pursuing. And she named names: Malik Willis, the backup quarterback from the Green Bay Packers, and Alabama's Ty Simpson. 2 quarterbacks being seriously evaluated, while Shedeur Sanders is sitting at home thinking he's the franchise guy based on what his own coaching staff told the media 24 hours earlier. Bro, how do you do that to somebody?
Because now Shedeur Sanders is making the moves off the fields as well. We're going to get into that. Before I even put the damn theme song. We're gonna just, you know what? I want to just get to what he put down, because Shedeur Sanders is looked as many different things. Thank God, majority of the people know the limelight that comes with him and what brings along with him. So how his rookie season built the hype.
And it gets worse. Because Mary Kay didn't just say they were looking at these guys in passing. She reported that the Browns would consider taking Ty Simpson at number 6 overall, or at 24, or at 39 if he somehow lasted that long in the draft. They are so desperate to move on from Shedeur, a quarterback they just drafted, that they're willing to burn a top 6 pick on his replacement. A top 6 pick for a quarterback to replace the quarterback they already have, the one they already used draft capital to acquire, the one they've been publicly supporting for the cameras. And Browns fans are sitting there watching all of this unfold in real time going, wait, what is Andrew Berry actually doing over there? And then 92 The Fan, Cleveland's own local sports radio, basically threw gasoline on the entire fire. Because these are the hometown voices. These are the people Cleveland fans tune into every single morning to get their Browns coverage. And what did they say on air? They said flat out that if the Browns sign Malik Willis, the next move they have to make is getting Shedeur Sanders out of there. Out of there, just like that. No nuance, no acknowledgement of what Shedeur dealt with all season, no accountability for the fact that this organization put him in an impossible situation from day one, denied him first-team reps under Kevin Stefanski, surrounded him with question marks at every skill position, and then pointed at his performance as justification for moving on. Just get him out of there. And that's when Browns fans completely lost it. Because here's what makes this so infuriating if you're a Cleveland fan who actually watched the games. This is the same quarterback, the same Shedeur Sanders, who came in and damn near won out the Browns' schedule when he was finally given the opportunity. John Liquidator said it perfectly. This is the same quarterback that gave Cleveland fans a little hope at the end of a season that had absolutely nothing else to feel good about. He absorbed all the chaos, he took the hits, he dealt with the dysfunction that has defined that organization for years, and he kept getting back up and competing every single time. And the reward for all of that? Andrew Berry flies to Indianapolis to find his replacement.
Going to get in a bidding war for a quarterback who started one game, fewer games in his career than Shedeur Sanders, and they definitely is. Listen to this, y'all.
Say, I will, instead of drafting a kid, I'd rather take a flyer and see if he's my next one, or a bridge quarterback even. Like, who's going to do that?
Now, here's something that should make every single Browns fan even angrier. And this is the part that John Liquidator pulled directly from the Rich Eisen show that really puts everything into perspective. The Rich Eisen show pointed out, and nobody has been able to argue with this because the math is right there, that the Browns are about to enter a bidding war for Malik Willis, a quarterback who has started fewer games in his entire NFL career than Shedeur Sanders. Let that land for a second. They are willing to spend serious money, burn draft capital, and publicly undermine their drafted quarterback for a guy with less starting experience than the player they're trying to replace. That's not a football decision. That cannot be justified as a football decision. That's a front office trying to cover its own mistakes by making another mistake and hoping the fan base is too distracted to notice. But the fan base noticed, and they're not distracted. And Andrew Berry's name is trending in Cleveland for all the wrong reasons right now. Let's talk about the Malik Willis situation specifically, because this is where it gets really interesting and the dots start connecting in a way that makes the whole thing look even worse for Berry's front office. According to what surfaced from the Rich Eisen show, Willis's own representative was out there publicly discussing which teams were pursuing him. The Jets, the Browns, Arizona, the Dolphins, 4 teams in a genuine bidding war. And the Browns were right at the top of that list, with discussions reportedly involving significant contract money. Now, on 92 The Fan, there was a whole debate about what kind of deal Willis was actually going to get. One host was throwing out a 5-year deal. The other was pushing back hard, saying nobody is giving Malik Willis 5 years. He had 155 snaps last year. That's it. If he gets lucky, it's 3 years, maybe. And you know what's wild about that debate? Even in the middle of arguing about whether Willis deserves 2 years or 3 years or 5 years, neither of them stopped to ask the most obvious question in the room. Why are we replacing a drafted quarterback with a guy who has fewer career starts than him? Why is Andrew Berry spending front office resources, cap space, draft pick conversations, and combine time on a bridge solution when the bridge is already standing in your own building wearing a Browns jersey?
The energy around the team completely shifted. You seen Myles Garrett looking at the sky when he threw that 53-yard pass. He ain't seen that in many moons. That's years for, if you don't know what the translation of moons are, but that's neither here or there. So not only did he become one of the most talked about rookies in the league, but his popularity exploded across the NFL. In fact, his rookie season basically showed more of what needed to be shown. My bad. My kids are going to school and saying bye. You guys have a blessed day in school, all right?
Because that's what this really comes down to at the end of the day. The Browns front office, Andrew Berry specifically, made decisions early in Shedeur's development that set him up to struggle. The first team rep situation, the offensive infrastructure, the coaching transitions, the chaos around Deshaun Watson that hung over the entire organization like a storm cloud all season. All of those were front office failures. And instead of owning those failures, course-correcting, and giving Shedeur the real shot he deserved from day one, Berry is in Indianapolis shopping for somebody new. That's not accountability, that's deflection, and Cleveland fans are smart enough to see it for exactly what it is. And here's the twist that I think a lot of people are sleeping on in all of this drama, because I always want to give y'all the full picture, not just the outrage version. There's actually a credible argument being made, even by some of the same voices on 92 The Fan who are calling for Shedeur to be moved, that trading him if you sign Malik Willis would be a disaster of a decision. One host said it straight up, said that even in a scenario where Willis comes in, you keep Shedeur, you let him develop further, you use the depth. He called trading Shedeur in that situation a flat-out disaster. And that person is right. But here's the problem. The fact that we're even having this conversation about whether it's a disaster to trade your own drafted quarterback for a guy with fewer career starts tells you everything you need to know about how badly Andrew Berry has managed this situation. A competent front office never puts itself in a position where this debate is even happening. You protect your investment, you build around your quarterback, you create the conditions for him to succeed, and then you evaluate honestly. Berry never did that, and now he's trying to quietly sidestep accountability by making the story about Malik Willis and Simpson instead of about the front office failures that created this mess in the first place. Cleveland Browns fans see through it. They've been through too many cycles of this exact same pattern with this franchise to be fooled again. New quarterback, big promises, organizational chaos, blame the player, find a replacement, repeat. They've watched this movie so many times, they know every line by heart, and they are done. They are done with the false smoke signals. They are done with the smiling faces in front of cameras while the backstabbing happens behind closed doors. They are done watching talented quarterbacks get set up to fail and then discarded before they ever got a real shot. Andrew Berry built this roster. Andrew Berry made these personnel decisions. Andrew Berry's front office sent those false smoke signals about Shedeur being the guy, and then got on a plane to Indianapolis to find his replacement. And now, Andrew Berry's name is the one Cleveland fans are calling for, loudly, publicly, in comment sections and radio call-in lines, and everywhere else Browns fans gather to process yet another front office disaster unfolding in real time. Shedeur Sanders deserved better than what this organization gave him. He deserved first-team reps from the jump. He deserved an offensive line that could protect him. He deserved a front office that was honest about its plans, instead of sending out carefully crafted public statements designed to manage perception, while the real decisions were being made in private. He deserved a general manager who stood behind his quarterback, instead of flying to the combine to replace him the moment things got hard. None of that is on Shedeur. all of it is on Andrew Berry, and Cleveland fans are finally saying what needed to be said. So let me ask you this, and I genuinely want the conversation in the comments right now. Do you think Andrew Berry should be held accountable for how this entire Shedeur Sanders situation has been handled? Is it time for Cleveland to make a front office change before they blow up yet another young quarterback's development? And most importantly, if you're Shedeur Sanders right now, knowing everything that's been said publicly about you in your own city, by your own team's media, while your own front office was in Indianapolis looking for your replacement, what do you do next? Because one thing is for certain, the smiling faces are gone, the false smoke signals have cleared, and what's left is a front office that owes its fan base and its quarterback a whole lot of answers. If you want to stay on top of every single development in this story as it breaks, before the mainstream media even catches up, you already know exactly what to do. Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on every notification. We are not slowing down. This story is moving fast, and we are right here in the middle of it. Cleveland, it's time to demand better, and we're going to keep talking about it until something changes.